Yo, what up, Knicks Nation? You already know what it is. We are back with another game preview. We got to preview game 3 of the New York Knicks playing the Boston Celtics. We already know what it is, man. We don't need this type of intro, but we already know what the thing is, okay? Knicks are up 2-0 against the Boston Celtics. They took 2 games at TD Garden. Now we got to get ready for game 3, and who better to help preview this next game than my guy, Keith Smith. You can go catch him over at Spot Track, and one of the hosts of the Front Office Show. He does phenomenal work over there. If you want to get all the salary cap breakdown, this man is a whiz. So make sure to go check him out. Make sure to check out all of his work. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Support our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash and a free pick. All right, people, let's get into this. Let's get ready for game 3. I'm hyped, Keith. Are you hyped for game 3?
Maybe a little less than you are. But no, yeah, it's if you can divorce yourself from the whole Celtics side of it, which is hard for me, and Celtics fans, it's been an incredible first couple games. I mean, it's just, bonkers stuff happening. I think Sean Grandy, he's the radio play-by-play guy for the Celtics. He has basically I don't know if he's trying to talk people off the ledge or push them off the ledge, but he's been sharing these stats of how these things that are happening have never happened before in Celtics history. It's just complete bonkers stuff, and that's hey, when you get the unexpected in sports, it's hard to be too upset with it.
The unexpected is a lot of fun, especially when you're the fan on the winning side of things, right? So, as a Knicks fan, when you're seeing, hey, back-to-back games, we're down by 20 points. Hey, back-to-back games. It's Mikal Bridges, starting to do some miraculous things in the fourth quarter, whether it's making clutch shots or just getting steals and blocks. You're like, this is the type of stuff that you want to see, even when it comes to Karl-Anthony Towns giving you some good moments in the first half. It's a complete team effort here, and Jalen Brunson not shooting the ball well, but coming up clutch in the fourth quarter, which, as a Knicks fan, that's what you want to see. So before we get into the Celtics side of things, Keith, what has been your thoughts about the New York Knicks, so far, whether it's, during the regular season, entering this matchup with the Celtics, or just through these 2 games so far?
Yeah, I think if you go back to the regular season, I thought they had a really good regular season. I think when you make a trade that big, that quickly before the season starts, we knew it was going to take a little bit of time to come together, but once it came together, I mean, it really started looking pretty good. I think getting Mikal Bridges in a spot where he is third, fourth option most nights, right? It kind of him or Anunoby, depending on who has it going. That's ideal for him. He was miscast when he was the number 1 guy in Brooklyn. It's not really what he is offensively, but when he's your third or fourth option, you're probably pretty good. And obviously Brunson and Towns are, pretty good, 1 and 2 the way it's fallen out, but 1A type options. So yeah, really, really solid. I thought they did a good job working their way through some of the injuries they had throughout the course of the year with guys, especially with a lot of the backups. It seemed to be guys in and out and in and out there, with the exception of McBride, who's been terrific all season. Going into the series, I was confident for the Celtics, the way the regular season had gone, just the way the Celtics have played the last couple of years. And, I'm not, we'll get into it deeper. I wasn't like overly confident where it's the Knicks stink, these games are going to be all blowouts. I thought Boston would win the series, but it's, the Knicks they're tough, right? They can put up points, and as we've seen in the first 2 games, they're just not out of games, right? They're just going to keep going. They just keep grinding and string together stops, get a bucket, get a stop, get a bucket, get a stop, get a bucket. They know this is not rock and jock. I'm dating myself. There's no 50-point basket, right? Just, you just gotta get them one at a time, and they do a great job with that.
For sure. And that's kind of been the interesting, I think, part of this whole development when you watch the Knicks. And look, I cover all 82 games here for KFTV, man. We're all 82, as we like to say around here. And during the regular season, we haven't really seen much of the Knicks stay in games and then come out on the other side in these type of top matchups. And so this is a nice plus. It's not even a pleasant surprise at this point. It's really a shock, and I think it's jolting the fan base, where it's just this great wave of emotions of just pride and just shock, where we saw like you can even see the hyper criticism. And I could blame myself too. Like when I watched the Knicks against Detroit, it's like, man, the talent. Like we look at the talent on paper. We should be blowing these guys out of the water against Detroit. All these are being decided by like no more than like 2, 3 points. Like what's going on here? We made these big trades. We should be this dominant team. And then when you're seeing what we're doing against the Celtics, it's, oh, this team is a really gritty team. And you can see the offense, which was, very potent at the beginning of the season, has fallen off. It's not as, there's not a lot of great continuity as it was where you have Cat working the high post, finding guys cutting left and right, but they're making it work. They're somehow, some way they are making it work. And I think the biggest thing for this team right now, especially against the Celtics, is just the response because it will be Boston is up. We saw up by 20 points. They score, the Knicks respond. Boston scores again, Knicks respond. And then it's like, oh, now they get a stop and they respond. And it's that type of effort where the fan base, I just see it post game. This is what we love from a New York team: the grittiness, the tenacity, the ability to not waver in these big moments and to continue to fight until the final final bell rings. And so it's just been not like I said, it's just been refreshing to watch the Knicks do that so far, and it's been a lot of fun from my perspective. But now getting to the Celtics, man, this is a team that has dominated the matchup right during the regular season, and now it's up by 20 points, you blow 20-point leads. What's been your thought about the Celtics so far?
Yeah, it's right. There's two sides to this. The negative side is it's like you blew two home games. You had them both. Like what happened? You fell apart. This is all the things everybody thought was gone from this team last year. They're like all back, right? It's like
Mm,
can't hold a lead. You play like a bunch of doofuses at the end of games. Like you're not playing the way you played for the first 40 minutes. You don't play that way in the final 8 minutes, and it just gets really really ugly. Then there's a side where it's like if they merely shot poorly instead of absolutely horrendous, they win both games. Like that's just you make a couple more shots and you're up 2-0 and you're probably sitting there like, man, we're up 2-0 and we haven't really played well. And that's the side where it's like, yeah, like I'm a big believer in like math doesn't lie. Like when you have good shooters getting mostly good looks, they're gonna make them eventually. Like it's gonna come back around to you. Now, they also showed last season they rarely had more than uh you know two bad shooting games in a week. Never mind in a row like this. And that's where it gets pretty tough. And I think with that side of it, it's like that's what kind of gives you the hope of like, okay, well, just make a few more shots, right? They have been one of the all-time best road teams in NBA history this regular season. They were, they were way better on the road than they were at home. And I think part of that is on the road, they lock in more on both ends of the floor and they don't
mm.
let up. And then right now, I feel like I'm kind of playing like, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. But like on the bad side, like Kristaps Porzingis, who knows? Maybe that little stint he had in the second half where he kind of looked like himself again and was making some plays. Maybe he is, finding his footing and his legs are coming back and he was feeling better. I don't know. Maybe 2 days off in between games will help him get to where he needs to be. But he's, been pretty much missing in action for they were not good in the Orlando series. He wasn't good in the first couple games here. So you start to worry like, all right, you've got to get this stuff back on track because in the playoffs, this is not the regular season where it's like, it was a bad week. A bad week in the playoffs and your season's over.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Bad week in the playoffs. Your season is over indeed. And I got to ask you because, especially since I live out here and I tune into obviously I listen to a lot of New York sports radio now that we have the capability of just being outside of the state. You can use all these different apps. And now, I'm also here. And so, especially where I work, people are listening to Boston sports radio. And a lot of it is, you know, uh, the like game after game one, it was they will not shoot like this poorly again. Well, they shot this poorly again. And look, I know the Celtics are generating some good looks, but I also think the Knicks are defending the three very well too, especially the way OG and Bridges and Hart have been guarding the perimeter. Where do you see that balance between Knicks are playing good defense against the Celtics and preventing them from getting, comfortable from shooting three versus there's a lot of open looks that we're just missing. Where's that
Sure.
middle ground for you?
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of both. I think one of the things the Knicks do really well defensively is they whether it's in straight drop coverage with Cat, which they haven't played a ton of so far, but they've played some. They do a really good job of choking off the corners. Like the Celtics have, it's pretty low. It's something like 20 something total corner 3-point attempts in the first two games. And that's a really low number when you consider the number of total 3-point attempts they've put up. And the Knicks do a great job of doing that. That's part of where having two long, quick wings like Anunoby and Bridges really help. And then Hart's just a ball energy, and he's going to close out and run out to guys and get all over the place. Then I think uh, going into the straight switching defense with Towns, I think it threw Boston off way more than it probably should have. Because
Mm,
I mean, if we call it what it was in the regular season, they killed him in the drop. Like he was in the drop, and they just, whether it was Tatum or White or Holiday or Brown, Pritchard, get the screen, Towns drops back, pull up, jump shot, knock it down, and go. Now he's up at the level of the ball. And say what you want about him. Yeah, if they blew by him a few times, he's picked up a few silly fouls, but he is still a 7-footer, right? He's still going to get out there and get a hand up on guys, and that's been tough. And they've done a good job making Boston take a lot of off the dribble shots, and those are always just they're harder to make, even if they are classified as open or wide open. They're just going to be harder shots to make because they're coming off the bounce, and then that's where the tracking data can get, admittedly wonky. And the late contests are good too. That's kind of goes back to that, not giving up on plays, right? If you're not straight switching and you're going to let a guy kind of come off clear, all right, well, you fight through the screen. Hart's done a good job with it. I think Anunoby's probably been the best. Also, too, he's just big, right? So, like the guys who are screening him, he's going to get through most of them most of the time. And then Bridges, anytime he's able to get, in the play on ball, I mean, it's funny. It's the plays that stand out are the two end game plays in each game one and game two, where he made the big defensive plays. They don't win game two if he's not so good on offense in the fourth quarter before
hmm
Brunson came back in. Like he kept them within striking distance and it was like, all right, because it was vacillating, right? It was like going 8 to 12 points, but he kept it right there because he just kept making shot after shot after shot. And that was huge. We'll say they stole the leprechaun luck with that banked in corner three in game one. That's not how that's supposed to work in that garden. That might work that way in the other garden, but but he's been awesome, man. He's made so many big plays, and it's just been huge. So yeah, there's but to really answer your question about the shooting, like, yeah, I'm of two minds. Like, you're getting good looks, and you should knock some of the like that wide open corner three Jason Tatum took. There's no reason that shouldn't go in, right? That's a shot he probably makes, I don't know, 6 out of 10 times, and just right now he as the old saying goes, he wouldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
mm. Salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning for another game preview. We're previewing game three for the New York Knicks facing the Boston Celtics. With me on the other side is my guy Keith Smith. You can find him over at Spot Track doing some wonderful cap breakdown. You can also find him over at Front Office Show as one of the hosts, cover the cap there too, man. Talking about all the teams. So if your team is involved in some trades or maybe some wonky ideas, go listen to Keith, man. Him and Trevor do a phenomenal job. Make sure to go check it out. And people, we got a giveaway. I got to talk about a giveaway now, all right? If you all want to go to game three at Madison Square Garden, we all know ticket prices getting crazy out here, especially over in New York, man. It is getting absurd. So if you want to go win two tickets to go watch the New York Knicks face the Boston Celtics, shout out to Juan Please Tequila, all right? Enter to win two tickets by subscribing to the KFTV newsletter, okay? Beehive, KnicksFanTV.beehive. You can go over there and subscribe to the newsletter. You can win two tickets to game three of the New York Knicks facing the Boston Celtics. Let's get back into the shout out to my guy William Barrera for the $10 super chat. And shout out to you for being a franchise channel member. He said, salute to KFTV family. Let's go Knicks. Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. All right. Keith, like, I know we just talked about the 3-point shooting. We talked about, all the differences in like how it could be a little wonky. Look at the numbers when you watch the game too. But like I feel like another thing that has really impacted the Celtics, and this is why they keep employing the strategy of Hackimich is that Mitchell Robinson. And so when you have guys like Hart, Anunoby, and Bridges who can guard the perimeter, and then add Mitchell Robinson as your backline, I feel like that's also been impacting the Celtics offense too, because then it just limits options as to how they can get their shots. Am I right with that, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, big time. Because what he does is he gives you a much more versatile defender than what Towns is. He made 3 plays in game two where he was up at the level of the ball and like just coming up with strips and deflections and just all the things that like they maybe don't show up in the box score, but when you watch, like it ruins an offensive possession. And those are huge because Towns can't. I mean, the Celtics will is even if they're not producing right now, they will happily live with Karl Anthony Towns trying to defend any one of the guards or wings 45 feet from the basket. Right? That's just not what he's good at. They're gonna make him move his feet. They're either gonna get a foul, they're gonna get an open shot, maybe draw help on every once in a while. When it's Robinson, you have to take a completely different approach because he can move his feet out there. And he also he'll recover back to the play. Oddly enough, I was very worried for Boston coming in. I thought there was a chance he was going to kill them on the offensive boards because they did not rebound well in the Orlando series. We know he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. They've done actually a pretty good job, I think, of keeping a body on him and keeping him out of just dominating the offensive glass. And that's been one of the weird trends of the series. Part of it is Boston's missed 9 million shots, so there is a lot of offensive rebounds, and they're killing the Knicks instead. Like they're beating on the offensive glass. They're just not converting them into points. So it's yeah, I think Mitchell Robinson has been big, and you're absolutely right. I mean, that's why the Celtics are going to the Hacka stuff because it's like, hey, get this guy off the floor. We would rather play when we have the ball against Karl Anthony Towns, and we saw it for a brief period of time. If we can get Towns in foul trouble and then force Robinson off the floor, now we're getting into like Precious Achua and other options that just aren't nearly as good. And that's part of what the goal is there as well.
Yeah, and I thought Towns did actually a really good job not being as overly aggressive.
Yes.
And that's always the key. It's like sometimes he's a little too aggressive. So, Cat, if you're tuning in, man, do what you did in game two. You don't need to be that aggressive. We don't need
Yeah.
these crazy fouls that we saw in game one. I was there. I was in the building for game one, Keith, and I saw him foul Tatum. I was like, oh my God, here we go, man. Here we go. Now we're in foul trouble. Now we're going down the rabbit hole of like what not to do. But look, I agree with Mitchell Robinson, man. And this is why I really want him to return. Even in the first series against Detroit, his presence and his rim protection is just was surely missed during the regular season. I mean, the Knicks finished the regular season 13th, so they were above average in defensive rating. But prior to that, they were under the average of like what it was in the league. And
Yeah.
so he just changes everything. And that's why we need a guy who can grab offensive boards, a guy who has now learned how to box out and set a good screen. Like these were two things that were just like, that were just far away from like in his repertoire of like what a big should be capable of doing. Now he's doing them very well. And with him out on the court, it's just a game changer. And that's why I get frustrated because I'm like, stop with the Hackimich, man. I just want this guy out here. We need him out there. But I get what the Celtics are doing. I get what
But
the Celtics
let
are doing.
me,
I don't like
I
it.
just got to say something with the Hacka stuff. And
Yeah.
it's also like the following up three at the end of games. They're both very good, sound strategies. They're awful for the game of basketball. It's like what, like, this is not, my go to with this is all that results in is free throws. If you like free throw shooting that much, go to your local CYO. They probably have a free throw shooting contest about every weekend, right? Like, what are we doing here? Like, this stuff is just a mess. And like, it feels like it's something where the league should be able to just get it out. Like, get this out of the game, right? Like with the Hacka stuff, make it as easy as it's one free throw and you get the ball back. And then if teams continue to do it, start turning it into something else. They can only take it so far, right? Because then you're going to get into the bonus and you're going to get guys in foul trouble. And then with the follow up three, I don't like, I don't have a super great fix for that, but it almost feels like if you commit any intentional foul late, it's a shot in the ball back, right? And then if you're willing to say, all right, we'll give him a shot, and then we think we can still get a stop, okay, all right, if you think you can pull that off, but I don't have the perfect solve, but let's get those out of the game. Like it's just I don't know. It slows everything down. Who wants to watch all that free throw shooting? It's not what I want to watch, at least.
I don't like to see a lot of free throw shooting, but if that's going to be part of the game and how, the refs ref it and
Yeah.
whatever the league wants to be officiated, it's even when you have the whole discourse of, oh, Brunson is foul hunting and he hasn't even gotten to the line that much, especially in game two. It's, look, if they're going to allow that to be part of the game, there's no such thing as ethics. It's like you're
Yeah.
you're playing to
Yep.
the strategy of the game. You're trying to
Yep.
slow it down, get free points. You want to slow the clock down, and especially if you're down by like 15, it's like, yeah, I'm going to get to the line. Let me slow the clock. Let me get some free points. Then try to get a defensive stop, and then go right back at it. And I totally
Yep.
understand that. It's what the Knicks mantra was last season with Julius. Two guys between him and Brunson that can get to the free throw line. Totally get it. But with the hack and Mitch stuff, it's like, it's also, I just find it interesting, and like even early in yesterday's game in the first half, I just didn't know why Tibbs took him out. Like we were close to the bonus yet, and I'm for, if you want to go hack Mitch, fine, go hack Mitch. Once we get to the bonus, put our shooters back out there, then we can go foul hunting.
Yep.
Let's play that game, and that's what I think the strategy should be. And then if you want to say, hey, let's stop doing that, I think that will be the answer to stopping hack and Mitch, is that if you get Brunson back to drawing fouls, if you give Cat like how he was, playing in the post, he's going to be able to draw fouls as well.
Hmm.
So that's just my resolution for the entire thing.
I hear
But
you.
let's keep this thing moving, Keith. We got a game three that we got to look at, man. So let's start getting into game three and getting some ideas of what adjustments should be happening, right? So for the Celtics, the team that's now down two games, what is the massive overhaul? I thought part of what they did yesterday was getting Jalen Brown, getting him downhill because he wasn't really doing that in game one. Are they still going to be shooting a lot of threes? I know we heard Tatum say, they're not going to really change the identity. I'm sure that's what Joe Mazzulla is going to say too. What's your answer for what the Celtics should do in game three?
Yeah, I don't think you can. We're in, I don't know what number game this is on the season, but we're like in game 90, whatever. You can't change who you are at this point, right? Like you are who you are. They won the title last year shooting a ton of threes. They're probably going to shoot a ton of threes again. And I think it's the quality of those threes is what really matters. Like there was a point in game 1 and it was the same play. Derek White came down, took a three-pointer with, I think there was 18 seconds left on the shot clock. It was kind of a weird pull-up. They were down. They were down, I think, 4 at the time. It was late in the game as the Knicks had come back and taken the lead. He took this weird three-pointer. I was like, why? Why did you, like, we didn't need that right there. Then it was Drew Holiday got the offensive rebound, dribbled out to the corner, and then threw up this one-legged turnaround shot. What it reminded me of, it's like, you're not down 10 with 20 seconds, which is we got to launch threes to get them up to try to do something. It was just a very weird approach. I thought there, when you're getting in rhythm threes in the game, you want to do that. What I would like to see them do is try to get more of them off of ball and player movement versus one player taking a pull up jump shot. Like if you can get them off of, you attack the pick and roll, you get downhill against it, and then you kind of, right, you put them in the blender, get the Knicks rotating, get them moving, and that's how you're going to get open looks. That's just going to feel a lot better when it's a more standard catch and shoot. The issue is they just have not made anything. No matter what number you look at, they are well below their regular season. And I know, I mean, this is what a wonderful analysis and segment this is for me to say all these things and say, shoot better. Like make shots. Like that's really what it comes down to. Like make these shots. Like if you make some of these shots, you win these games. And again, I said it before. If you just don't shoot like the worst you've ever shot in a 2 game period, you're up 2-0. You could have shot bad. You just couldn't shoot this badly. And that's, there's a lot there. I think defensively, um, they've gotten very loose in the fourth quarters. I think there's been a tendency to they've got that double digit lead opening the quarter. And then there's just the next thing you know, it's 6 or 8 point lead. And you're still like, we still have the lead, but it's like it's already kind of gone. Right now you're in a game. Like I just would like to see them stay a little tighter defensively, stay a little more locked in. And as far as lineup stuff goes, because there's been a lot of stuff in Celtics fandom of like, are they going to try Baylor Shireman? And I'm like, the rookie, barely played. Like, you want to throw him in a second round playoff series in what is essentially a must win game? Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe he's built for it, but I'm certainly not going to trust that. I think you're going to get mostly what you've got. Maybe Sam Hauser can give it a go. We'll see. But I would probably go back to Porzingis if he's feeling up to it back in the starting five, because you just rebalance a little bit, right? Get back to what you were and try to get him if he's feeling, again, he's got to be feeling good and feeling up to it. Get him working in the middle of the paint. Get him working at the nail. Like, that's been kind of their, when things aren't going well, that's what they go to, right? It's where we're not hitting shots. All right, give Porzingis a touch. Those kind of went to Jaylen Brown. Some little mixed there. He's pretty good at points. Other points, it looked like he was kind of losing his legs a little. So I think those are some of the things you could do a little bit without completely changing, who you are. Because there are people like, I don't want to take more than 23 pointers. And it's like, kid, like, if 20 what in a quarter, because like they're gonna get up 20 each half. I have no doubt about that. Like that's just who they are.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, as my cat tries to be
No,
part of
all
the
good.
show, he likes to be
Hey,
part of
if
the
you
show.
watch Front Office Show, Trevor Scott's in there all the time.
I know.
Studio Stu, the studio cat.
I've had Trevor on the show, and we've had his cat join the show quite a few times. My cat, his name is Wally. Now he's trying to get part of the program as well. He wants to
There
give
you
his take on what he's seen through these games, but not today, Wally. Not today. Maybe another time. Look, I think for the Knicks in this, the big thing for me. There's like three things. One, I want to see that flow of like in the half court offensive ball movement. And I think part of that is getting Towns more looks from three. He hasn't shot many threes at all. I think he's only shot one since this entire matchup. He's only shot in one 3-pointer, and when you have one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, I think the plan should be, hey, how do we get more threes, especially when you're going against a team like Boston and that's willing to put up. I mean, we just saw they put up 63s in game one. It's like, oh my God, if we're gonna do that, we have to make sure that we're gonna match some of that firepower. And so I think one is generating open looks for Towns especially in transition. But before I even get to in transition, it's just generating threes for Towns, and by doing that, it will also open up the high post so that way
Mhm.
he can then start to find the colors for Bridges, OG, and Josh. And I feel like that's something that the Knicks have to figure out how to get back to. I know the Brunson Cat pick and roll is kind of that answer to getting that going. And I know it's been a struggle, especially when we put a wing. And right now they have Tatum guarding Cat while he's out there, just because they want that nimble, wing out there that can just, able to recover, make Towns think twice on whether or not he wants to shoot the three or if he wants to, start driving, getting downhill. So they have to figure that out so that way they can open up the lane. So Towns getting some threes will help open up that high post, in my opinion, and get that free flowing offense that we saw at the beginning of the year. Next thing they got to do is this is where it gets out in transition. Obviously, getting stops, getting boards, pushing the pace. The Knicks have won that battle, whether it's narrowly in game one by 10-8, and then they did a better job in game two. And as my screen's trying to load right here, I think they got 16, 18 points somewhere around there in transition. And I'm looking for the Knicks to continue to do that and just beat Boston in that game. They got to generate easy points. This is a team in the Boston Celtics who I like at some point the offense is going to come around for them. And I just can't continue to say bank that while the defense is good, that there won't be an eruption at some point. That's just how this team rolls.
Yeah.
So the Knicks just need to be able to put pressure by getting rebounds, generating steals, getting out transition, creating easy opportunities, because that will help them either maintain a lead or stay in these games, because it will be that offensive battle. And then the last thing is just to continue what they do, is just because I saw they tried to go a little bit into drop with Cat in game two, and I'm like, don't go into drop. We can't, especially if you're going to have Tatum. Tatum will eat that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we have to maintain staying at the level. And I think Tibbs should go back to that. I'm sure he's talking about that as he's watching film. Like, hey, it worked game one. We tried it in game two. Wasn't really a great idea. Let's stick with just keeping Towns at the level, making sure that he can guard Tatum. Whoever gets switched on to him, we got to use his length to his strength. And that also goes with having Mitchell Robinson in a lot of two big lineups,
Mhm.
because I feel like that will help as well. So that's what I'm expecting for the Knicks to do. Um, as for you, I know you eloquently spoke of what the Celtics should do to generate more shots, but it just comes down to making shots. Is like, I think this is going to be. Game three will be a pivotal point for how this series go. The series goes.
Yeah, I mean, if Boston doesn't win, then it's over. Like, I'm not saying they're going to lose in four. They may very well lose in four if they lose game three, but they're not going to win the series. I know against Miami a couple years ago, they got as close as anybody's ever gotten to pulling off the 0-3 comeback. But like, yeah, it's funny because it was like you can't rely on doing that. Just like as I said to a couple people, I'm like, I guarantee you, Tibbs' message to the Knicks is, guys, we can't keep falling behind by 20. Like we that's not a sustainable way to win, right? Like it happened, but like that we have to be better early. And to your point, I thought both teams started game two playing much faster, even if it wasn't like transition in like the fast breaking sense. There was some of that for sure, but it was just get the ball up the floor and get into our stuff. And that's I think both of them having a respect for these are two good defensive teams. I know the Knicks weren't a great defensive team in the regular season, but they've stepped it up considerably in the playoffs. And I think that's generally how you beat good defense, right? Get into your stuff quicker so you're not taking as many late clock. But then I think both teams are only really playing about 7, 8 guys. They're pushing the start. I think they just get tired, and then it's like we just don't like we can't. But then the Knicks are finding that gear. I think Tibbs subs have been really good in the fact that OG in game one, Bridges in game two, kept them in it until Brunson could come back. You didn't have to push Brunson to play the entire fourth quarter. He was able to kind of, hey, I'm going to get him his rest here. And then he was able to come in and then he takes care of the rest of the game. I thought like that's been really smart. I think even like he went to a point where he had both Brunson and Towns on the bench. And it was a little like, all right, how's this going to go? And it went
Yeah.
fine, right? And like, it went okay. And like when it went fine, it's like then you're fit. That now you're like you're looking around. If you're Mikal Bridges, like, all right, now we get my guys coming back. Like we're gonna be all right here. And that's where I think I'm curious to see if Missoula tweaks his rotation, not from the players in it, but more when guys are playing. What do the minutes look like? How does he try to avoid those like long stretches where it is these 5 minute stretches without a hoop? Because that's just killing them right now.
Yeah, and I think for to your point with the rotations, like this is where I think this comes into the Knicks' favor because of, Tibbs running such a short rotation during the regular season and playing the five so many minutes. They are in the position to be well conditioned for when this part of the season, especially after you get a break during the regular season, you don't have to worry about playing during the play-in week. So now they feel refreshed. You have more time off in between games. So these guys are able to return and play those 38, 40 some odd minutes, even 50 as Bridges played in game one. So they're ready for this. And that was going to be the biggest question mark in this series, right? I mean, you lose
Yep.
Hauser right now, who's dealing with an ankle injury. KP, in and out. I know he's dealing with an illness right now. It's undisclosed what it is. But if you're really going to be playing seven guys for the Celtics when you've been, conditioned to have nine guys and have a deep nine that can just, put up threes and just get out there and run, it changes the entire course of things, especially for guys who are not ready to play so many minutes. And I think that's been a big advantage to the Knicks right now. And so, as maniacal as Tibbs is, and now all the Tibbs people are like, minutes, minutes, the minutes police are out, and they're ready to say, what is he doing? Looking like it's working to his advantage right now. And so, hey, we'll see once again what game three will unfold in game three on Saturday. It just stinks that we gotta wait one more day,
I
Keith.
know.
One
Yeah.
more day.
I kind of think both teams need it though. Like these are two pretty physical games. You had the overtime. Like we said, guys are playing a lot of minutes. Hopefully we'll get a better because this, I mean, let's face it, these look like the Celtics and Knicks like I grew up on in the 90s and the early 2000s where it's like, God, these are I mean, it's funny. I had a friend of mine who he's not a Knicks or Celtics fan, but he loves the NBA, and he's like, I admit like the drama is fun because but these games are kind of gross. He's like these are just like he's like it's not the most well played games. He's like I'm just sitting here watching two teams miss a lot of open looks, and that's the thing too that I've said for Celtics fans. Because if you're confident, right, as a Celtics fan, and I've given all the reasons you should be, it's not like the Knicks have set the world on fire. Like it would be one thing if it was like, yeah, the Knicks, they won by 15 in the building each day, and the Celtics played terrible, and the Knicks shot 60%. you'd be like, all right, well, that'll come back to earth. We'll come back up, and everything will balance out. It is a little like, yeah, the Knicks can also play better. They've not played, they've I'm taking nothing away because they won the two games, but let's not act like it's been like, masterpieces from them. So they can also be better. And if they're better, like, then you have to be a lot better to if they start playing better. And that's where I think we might see a little bit better offense, but we'll see. I mean, it might just be we got two teams that are locked in, and maybe it is going to be what it is.
Salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning in for another game of the week preview with me. On the other side is my guy, Keith Smith. You can go find him over at Spot Track, and you can also find him over at the Front Office Show, breaking down the salary cap for all your favorite teams. He's a big Celtics fan. That's why I see some of you in the chat like, why is Keith? If this is your first time hearing about Keith, I don't know where you've been, man. He's been around for a minute. He's been around for a minute covering the league. Big Celtics fan. Used to be over at Celtics blog. He knows his team. He's loved this team for many years. All right. But come on, people. You got to know who Keith is. This is just craziness. This is craziness. But hey, if you don't know who Keith is, you should also know who this is. All right. Our sponsor for today, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash and a free pick. People, let me tell you about Underdog Fantasy. If you think you know better than what these sports fantasy apps are telling you, then make sure to download the app and go use that knowledge. Okay. So the cool thing about Underdog is that you can either create a ticket and with between 2 to 8 players, and all you got to do is just choose higher or lower on any single stat. So for tomorrow, let's say you're a Knicks fan and you see Jalen Brunson hasn't been really lighting the world on fire. He's due for a 30-point game somewhere. So maybe you want to say, hey, Jalen Brunson higher than 25 and a half points, which may be what they decide to set it at tomorrow. So you would choose that and keep going down the list. Now, the thing is, if you create a ticket and you're choosing one sport, it has to be 2 players from 2 different teams. But the cool thing is you can mix and match amongst all sports. So it could be hockey, basketball, baseball. That's the beauty about Underdog Fantasy when you create a ticket. And the cool thing is, the more players you choose, the higher the reward can be. And the better thing is, if you're not confident that all your picks are going to hit, there is the insured route. So if you don't think, let's say you choose all 4 picks that all 4 are going to hit, and you only think 3 are going to hit, you can go with the insured route and just know that you'll get some cash if 3 out of the 4 hit. Now, the other cool thing about Underdog Fantasy is that you can put on the GM cap, all right? You can put on the GM cap, try to create the best team, and compete with your friends or a bunch of randos out there and say, hey, I think I can win this thing. All right. I think I know how to draft better than you. And so you can do that on Underdog Fantasy. So make sure to download the app. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash and a free pick. All right, Keith, let's wrap this thing up. Now let's see what is going to unfold for tomorrow. Who do you think is the big player for this one, man? I like asking this question because it's kind of been a different storyline for players that have shown up and haven't shown up in these games. Yesterday you had Jaylen Brown show up. Who do you think needs to be the guy that shows up in game 3 for the Celtics?
Yeah, I'm going with the easy ones. Jason Tatum.
Mm.
They need a big game out of him. History has told us it's been a lot of playoff series. He's really not very good in the first couple games, and then usually games 3 through 6. That's when he really picks it up. It's I don't begin to have any idea why that is. I don't know if he has to feel his way into a series or whatever it is. He's obviously been awful. We'll call it what it is on offense. He's done a really good job rebounding. He's played really great defense, but his shooting has just been terrible. His finishing it wasn't very good. Just none of it's been good enough on offense. I think you're going to see him have one of those big time breakout games where we're coming back. We're like, all right, that's the guy we expected to be this good.
Jason Tatum. I said Karl-Anthony Towns had to be that guy for game 2, and he was that guy for game 2, especially in that first half. I'm going with Jalen Brunson now. Now, Jalen Brunson has been that guy that give us clutch buckets in the fourth quarter, but we haven't really had the Jalen Brunson performance as we saw in round 1 against the Detroit Pistons. Right now, Jalen Brunson is averaging 23 points, but shooting, what is he shooting? It hasn't been great. He's been
35%.
shooting 30. Thank you, sir. He's been shooting 35% from the field, and it's like, you could do a little bit better. Shooting very well from downtown.
Yeah.
39%, but he's been missing a lot of bunnies, a lot of the floaters. doing a lot of the pivots and doing the layups around there, the scoop layups that we're so accustomed to seeing him finish. I'm looking for Jalen Brunson to have a big performance tomorrow. Obviously, as we talked about, the three-point shooting has been there. The assist can get up, especially if guys are knocking it down. But the efficiency, and that's the big thing. Like, if you're going to have a Tatum game, you're going to need to have a Brunson game. So if you're choosing Tatum, I'm going with Brunson for tomorrow. This is the guy that needs to, he just needs to, man. Like, we just need to, because there's only so much you can rely on your role players, to perform. I know that they're home and they're gonna step up because they're home, but you need the captain to have a good, efficient game as well. Keith, I appreciate you coming through as always, my man. Appreciate you coming through as always. Please let the listeners know where they can find you. If you got any work up and coming, we should be on the lookout for.
Yeah, you can find all my written work over at spottrack.com. If you're interested in the league as a whole right now, I'm running the off-season preview series where it's just, getting into all these, teams. Where I think we've got 7 or 8 of them up. We go in order of elimination, so we're not going to get to the Knicks for a while. You hope, ideally, right? You want us to get to them last.
Yes, dead last. I would love that.
Exactly, right? That means you're having a parade. So it'll be a bit before we get to the Knicks off-season preview, but yeah, they're up there. We're breaking down, what's going on, what to look for with free agency and extensions and in the draft and all the things you need to know, options, all that stuff is there. Who's got cap space and tax implications, aprons, all the things, that's all there. And then what you want, and we get a little crazy sometimes.
There you go. So make sure to go support Keith and all the platforms that he contributes to, man. Whether it's Spot Track, he does a phenomenal job over there. The front office show, very entertaining between he and Trevor Lane. I mean, come on, man. You can't even script that even better than what it is. You have a Lakers fan and a Celtics fan talking about cap and how teams need to maneuver. And good Lord, I know that Trevor's got to be upset that the Lakers out, and now he's got to watch Keith just enjoy that they're in the second round. But hey, man, as a Knicks fan, I just want to see them beat you guys, man. I gotta be upfront and be honest, man.
Trevor's the biggest West Coast Knicks fan going right now. He, you guys have all the Lakers Nation behind you as well. So
that's strange. That is very strange. I don't even know how I feel about that.
Right.
But salute to you, Keith. Appreciate you for coming through as always, and salute to Knicks Nation. Thank you all for tuning for another game preview game 3 this week of the Knicks facing the Boston Celtics. So make sure to hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Make sure to support our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Use that promo code KFTV to get up to $1,000 in instant bonus cash and a free pick. People, we got a watch party back again this Saturday at the Ainsworth. You already know what the vibes are. We got DJ Eric L. Beats on the 1s and 2 again. Doors open up at 12:30. All right, so make sure to get over there. Make sure to get popping with the drinks, all right? Make sure to support the orange and blue crew. All right, so make sure to go join everybody. I know CP, the Knicks chick, everybody's going to be back out there. All right, people showing up for these things and showing out. You saw how it was a zoo when the Knicks won game 2, so make sure to go be part. Don't want to be missing out, man. You don't want to be, feeling FOMO with, fear of missing out for all of you that don't know what that stands for. So make sure to go over there and go join. And remember, if you sign up for the newsletter, knicksfan.beehive.com, you have the potential to win 2, not 1, 2 free tickets to Game 3 at Madison Square Garden to watch the Knicks face the Boston Celtics. Shout out to Juan Police Tequila for giving us this capability in doing so. But salute to everybody. Salute to all the franchise channel members. Omar, shout out to you. Zach in LA, shout out to you. We got Flow 174. All right. Who else we got in here? We got Wise Guy. Shout out to you. We got Tony Doza. Shout out to you. Ferocious Neophyte. We got who else? Always a big bag. Shout out to all you guys for tuning in as always. And shout out to all the mods too, man. You guys do a great job. Appreciate all you. We'll catch you on Saturday for play-by-play and post-game as always. All right, everybody. We out.